Well, that game felt much better. Yo, dudes, Oren here. Welcome to my post-game reaction after the Lions defeat the Las Vegas Raiders 26-14 on Monday Night Football, and their last game they play before they head into their bye week. Technically, the game still has 1 minute left, but they're kneeing it, and the game's pretty much over, and I'm calling it now. So, but yeah, it's another win against, frankly, an opponent that we should have been able to beat, and we did. Although earlier in the game, we did have some red zone trouble against a team that ranked. I hear ranked last in red zone defense, and had to settle for field goals for several of those times. But they got the points and they got the job done. I mean, the score could have been easily over 30, 35 points, but it's 26 points against a team that has one really good edge rusher, and then that's pretty much it. And but overall, the defense did very well, I thought. Ali McNeil had multiple sacks in this game, as did Angelone, like on the blitz plays and that sort of thing. Hutchinson was, there with the pressures. Other than that, you didn't hear too much from him. And, Kirby Joseph had an interception. There was that weird few moments early in the game where, they got the turnover from us, and then we got an interception right back. And then, there was another turnover, like Crosby punched out the ball, like in that Craig Reynolds thing that was so there's a couple of things on offense that troubled us. And I know my thoughts are all over the place right now, but one highlight of this game for the offense, definitely Jahmyr Gibbs. This is the game that Gibbs has broken out, and they're getting ready to interview him right now. But yes, Jahmyr Gibbs, beating him on the run game and outrunning everybody, and from the passes, the check down passes and everything. So he really came up, and he was a key part of our offense and helped us be able to win tonight without David Montgomery. So Craig Reynolds was doing good stuff there. And then, like I was saying with the defense, I know I'm all over the place tonight, but the defense overall did a really good job, except for that one drive where Josh Jacobs literally did everything with it himself there. Most of the plays were him up to that touchdown. And Jerry Jacobs had like a chop block penalty, which helped them with the 15 yards there. But yeah, penalties, sometimes the penalties were hurting us. So I know there was a one on offense from earlier in the game that Taylor Decker had a holding penalty that kind of helped kill one of the drives there. So, it was a get-right game, and they definitely got a lot right there. So, because we had Jared Goff, who was 26 for 37 with 272 passing yards, and he had over 200 passing yards by halftime there too. One touchdown and one interception. He had that pick six there, which looks like St. Brown didn't know where he was going after Goff was trying to improvise, I guess. While meanwhile, Garoppolo had 10 for 21, 126 yards and one interception. I think the announcers mentioned that none of the receivers for the Raiders had caught a pass in that whole first half. If that's true, then that is crazy. Josh Jacobs had 15 carries for 61 yards and one touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs had 26 carries, 152 yards and one touchdown. Craig Reynolds had 14 carries, 74 yards. And then as far as receiving goes, the Raiders couldn't do much there. Josh Jacobs, 2 receptions, 27 yards. Devontae Adams, 1 reception for 11 yards. And then meanwhile with Detroit, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the bread and butter players, I like to refer to him, 6 receptions, 108 yards. Sam Laporta, 8 receptions, 57 yards and 1 touchdown. And Jahmyr Gibbs, 5 receptions for 37 yards. So Gibbs being dynamic. And then a bunch of other players caught some passes sometimes. For example, Jameson Williams, 2 receptions for 16 yards. And then Josh Jacobs had a fumble. Jacoby Myers had a fumble recovery. Spellane had a fumble recovery. Max Crosby had a fumble recovery. Josh Reynolds had a fumble. Craig Reynolds had a fumble there. And then sacks. Alex Anzalone had 2 sacks. Tracy Walker had a sack. Lee McNeil had 2 sacks. Julian Aquara had a sack. And, yeah, so like I was saying, the Lions defense looks pretty much sharp. This reminded me a lot of the Lions versus Falcons game earlier in the year. Like, it turned out to be a lower scoring game, but Gibbs got the job done on offense. Yeah, you get the idea. It was awesome that they were doing it on Monday Night Football, showing everybody their greatness. Bounce back win after getting pummeled by the Raiders. I tried to draw what their logo looked like on the helmet that they were sporting in this one. And I didn't like it at first, but the more I watched it and looked at it, the more I really enjoyed it for this game. And then, this was a get-right game, and the Lions improved to, 6-2 now as they go into the bye week, and it's the halfway point of the season for them. So, good stuff there. And I'm not going to do a Fridge Magnet Power Rankings video just because I'm going to be busy with all this stuff. But I am going to be doing some version of the Lions halfway video later this week. So be on the lookout for that. And one last thing, I just want to once again shout out Tom Grassi and his followers. Thank you again for rating me. And this was the second raid that I received from Tom Grassi and his fans. He rated me all the way back during week 1 during the Lions and Chiefs games. I was eating a cheeseburger, and I was trying to get him to raid me on purpose, and it worked. And then this time I was just kind of sitting there with my bucket, Detroit Lions bucket, which was full of celery, and just eating that. And then I saw the one person jump up in there, and I was like, wait, is that Tom Grassi? Is he trying to figure out to raid me? And then it took a while, then there it was. And you didn't have to raid me again. I know there's other people out there streaming who would have, loved the raid, but, I appreciate that you had me in mind for a second time. I don't know what else to say besides that. And thank you. So, the trade deadline is going to be coming up. We'll see what the Lions and Brad Holmes will do. I know a lot of people are saying they might need another edge rusher, need help with cornerbacks in the secondary. My personal preference is to try to think, 2 steps ahead and get maybe some depth for the offensive line, or maybe another deep wide receiver threat like Mike Evans. That would be my preference there, to try to somehow think 2 steps ahead, because you got to imagine that every GM knows that the Lions want an edge rusher or cornerback, and they're going to drive up the trade price for that. So, but I trust Brad Holmes with whatever he's able to accomplish with the trade. And, who am I to, question or give suggestions to Brad Holmes? He knows what he's doing. He doesn't have to explain anything to us. So, that's it. Another great Lions win. This is a really feel good for Monday nights. And until after the bye week, 2 weeks from now, go Lions, one pride.